Salutations, cinephiles and moviegoers alike. Welcome to Cinema Recap. Glad to have you here. Now today we're taking a glaring view into Blindness, an eye-opening movie about a not-so-eye-opening pandemic. Let's get started. Spoilers ahead. We begin the scene with your run-of-the-mill American dream, a bustling city with traffic and traffic lights alike. We see traffic getting obstructed by an Asian man in his car, probably fidgeting because he remembered how terrible Japan's birth rates are. For now, this is our main, first blind man. Yeah, throughout the entire movie, he doesn't have a name. Off to a great start, I suppose.
What happened?
Then we're introduced to the superhero that's gonna save the first blind man's day. The thief. So he doesn't have a name either. Well, despite his name, I'm sure he has a heart of gold. The thief says with such passion and concern for the well-being of others, I'm 100% sure he's the good guy here, thanks to his valiance. Roll the title card. Now this thief takes the first blind man home, and they discuss how the first blind man feels about, well, being blind. Perfect prognosis, my man. The writers really did you dirty by naming you thief. So they get to their destination, but the first blind man is unsure if this is his place. So the absolute chat of a man the thief is, he points out to the first blind man to walk to the curb at his left. What a nice guy. Oh, that's a shame. Hey, who could have foresaw that, right? The poor first blind man tries to reach out for help in the middle of the street. But what's this? Just like Superman, that thief comes through. He then helps the blind man up to his apartment. And when he reaches the house, he even offers to stay until he feels better. It's like a guardian angel in disguise.
Any other symptoms?
Nervous symptoms?
The thief leaves with dignity in his hands. The first blind man's wife comes home to see that one of their vases is smashed on the floor. She then finds her husband laying down on the sofa with blood on his hands. The first blind man then tells his lovely wife that he's gone blind from all the cum in the jar. So the wife goes into full damage control and tries to call for a doctor. You know what? First blind man, too long. I'm gonna call him Asian man. And his wife, well, Asian wife. So Justin Wang over there complains that he donated the car to some needy and precious soul.
Taxi!
While they take a cab to the doctor's. The first thing we see in the waiting room is, of course, some rando Karen complaining because her McRib is running 2 seconds late. Now for the rest of the waiting room, these people are going to be mostly our main cast, so he recommends them to a more advanced facility where they're going to run more tests on his eyes. Then they check out to the receptionist. Cue our resident Homelander, our unsung Omni-Man, the thief. He's probably going to donate that car to charity.
We don't have a car.
Maybe it's a secret charity. And we're back to Dr. Bruce Banner diagnosing a kid for his eyes. And the diagnosis is over. He gives him a cute little lollipop. Probably explains the taco he was giving to Ant-Man. The doc then diagnoses the sunglasses girl from the lobby and gives her a prescription of eye drops. Doc, what if I need an operation? Will I still need to wear sunglasses? So the doctor goes home to his wife. And man, we're gonna give her a nice name, inspired by the writer's name-giving skills. Let's call her Doctor's Wife. So the doctor goes home to his wife to have dinner and explain what went down in the office. Love how the doc here really knows his stuff. Just hope he doesn't get injected with gamma radiation. And speaking of radiation, he and the missus eat their dinner and after, he does some late-night office work.
Wait, hold on.
The next character we need to pay attention to is the glasses girl from earlier, only this time, she's at the pharmacy looking like a Hispanic Ada Wong. Probably trying to smuggle the G-Virus in the form of Flintstones vitamins. She then mouths off, pays for the drugs and leaves, calls for the cab, and goes to a hotel. Back at the doctor's place in the morning, we catch his wife making him coffee when suddenly, while the doctor's in the bathroom, then the wife tries to take a closer look, but the doc remembers it's infectious, so he tries to stave her away. The wife insists though and still gives him a hug. Aw, it's a wholesome 100 Reddit moment. The wife then kisses both of his eyes, and you know this girl loves kissing her homies goodnight.
It's almost 8:30.
We then see the white blindness spread throughout the entire city, in the halls, in the offices, and even in the streets. Even the Minister of Health hears about this looming pandemic. Doesn't look like Will Smith's going to be hunting secret aliens today, so getting back to the doctor, we see him packing up. There's an ambulance on the outside. Hope it didn't run over anyone with a hand fetish. and it's ready to pick up the doctor. The authorities and some quarantine agents load him into the ambulance. Is being a Karen also a pandemic for this movie? Regardless, both of the two ever so loyal lovers are taken away by a police escort. Then, we have a state of emergency broadcast. Translation, they're screwed. While this greasehead was busy boring the people to death faster than the blindness epidemic, we see the doc's wife exploring their new home. The loving couple sit down on their new bed in the quarantine facility and talk about how the wife is immune to the blindness for some reason. Totally not a deus ex machina.
I shouldn't tell anyone that I can see.
It was Mr. Expert of Niceties, the thief, that Asian man, the sunglasses girl, and her spawn, the sunglasses kid. They meet the doctor and his wife inside and get settled. As the red string of fate would have it, that thief recognizes the voice of the Asian man and badmouths him, blaming him that he started this whole pandemic. Dr. Banner tries to calm them both down, as if he knows anything about being calm, but they break out into a fight anyways. That's exciting. Anyways, they both return to their respective beds. And I guess the sarcasm for the thief comes off here. He's such a nitwit, badmouths the doc about authority and whatnot. Man's probably also infected with a smooth brain. The sunglasses girl tries to tuck her son in, but he says he has to go pee. And just mentioning piss, all the blind people in the ward suddenly got a golden shower fetish, and they all just hold each other's shoulders as they walk down the hall. Oh, that guy needs to take a toaster bath. So the sunglasses girl shanks him with a sharp stiletto to the leg. Thief then blames the girl despite being such a creepy failed abortion, but our homegirl shrugs it off as, "I tripped." Ha, nice. Anyways, they patch him up real good, but the doc's wife says it'll be infected nonetheless. Hulk brings his game on, but his lady friend rejects that zucchini and says she's going to take a walk. Alright, they pull up. The military, I mean. Of course, they're going to have some oppressive regime to set up this dystopian nightmare like any other white girl ages 13 to 19. And the doctors come up to the inside of the facility. The doc tells them to count off so they know how many people are there. But then the Asian man recognizes one of the voices.
One by one, and introduce yourselves.
Anywho, a loud bell sounds off and the doc and his wife suddenly bolt off to the halls. They run into the guards near the entrance. The guards threaten to shoot, but the doc and his wife still insist on moving forward a little because they're desperate for help and supplies. But the guards still have itchy fingers. The doc acts like a Karen, asks for the manager, and the guards aren't taking that. They count down until they blow him to Kingdom Come and his wife pleads. They piss off and the guards don't shoot. End of story. We're then taken to a cafeteria scene where everyone's just staring away from anything and eating their plastic imprisoned meals. Next up, more new arrivals.
We don't have enough food.
One piece of fresh meat is the receptionist from earlier, which the doc's wife recognizes. Over time, we see more and more people are in the ward, and the halls get dirtier.
That's a risk I can take.
He remarks the toilets have absolutely gone to hell. Now out here we see the wild Asian couple in their natural habitat, or at least their new natural habitat thanks to that pandemic of blindness. It's all in Japanese, so the man was recalling something enjoyable while the wife said that she hated all the false positivity. Back inside the pig pen known as the blindness ward, the doctor's wife is managing the showers and exits them, but she sees someone in a tight closet. What a truly Shakespearean exchange. Also, if you haven't noticed, that's that same eye patch dude from the clinic's waiting room earlier.
I'm not gonna go!
Oh, you know the world's gone to hell and back if a man's claiming a radio is like the hand of God reaching out to humanity. Anyway, so they go back to the ward and everyone gathers around the eye patch man because he seems to recall the first few days of the pandemic.
Same day, 2 planes collided.
He then tells us the government actually responded quickly with makeshift quarantine centers.
I can see 12 of us.
Then some bigwig suits talk about the spreading epidemic. Basically, the government tried and failed, like always. Then the blindness spread to the government itself. Weeks would pass and the blindness would spread more and more. Soon the military got involved and forced people to quarantine zones.
We collect from now on.
Solved how, Pirate Louis Armstrong? Everyone walking around because they're blind, no cars, whatever. Gotcha. A military convoy arrives at the outside of the quarantine compound. A stampede begins and the crowd rushes in the ward like a tidal wave of flesh and body odor. And the next morning, the militia guys give instructions to the doc's wife, leaving the guards shrug it off as blind people adapting quickly. Listen, there's a lot of Fortnite no-no words here. Let me just give you the gist. The doc is basically asking the other wards to bury their fair share of the dead. Ward 3 doesn't take too kindly to this, so we got this show-off schmuck mouthing Mark Ruffalo off. We're not really seeing the thief too often, so we get this douche. Bow down to the lobotomized logic of the king of Ward 3. Also, this blind fedora man comes into play later, but here he is. The king then makes the Hulk piss off, and he says Ward 3 will eat dinner before even thinking about burying anyone who's dead.
I can't sleep like that.
Yo bro, not even your infected leg trusts you. The thief then gives a monologue about how smart he is and probably more dialogue of him sucking himself off, so we'll spare you such an embarrassing spectacle. Just from the smell of the wards alone, I would be caught crying like that too. Of course, going back to the thief and how much of a smart guy he is. He goes out of the ward like a limp phallus and... might be the only decent thing soldiers did in this movie. Promote that infected idiot into Alivant. So the doc and his wife argue that the thief knew about her being able to see all this time. Then it devolves to the doc hating how his wife has to take care of him like a little baby. Unfortunately, she takes that the wrong way and leaves him in the dirty hall. Of course, King Douche and his merry band of mongrels take over the audio room and announce that they're going to take over the entire compound now. What an insufferable moron. He then imposes a law, which requires people to give up their valued possessions in exchange for meals. He's reaching Ferdinand Marcos levels of douche. Shut up! The doc's wife doesn't take too kindly to that and protests. But the king just overcompensates. Oh, the lady's got cojones. The king then laughs it off and the other wards go back to their respective places.
I'm the king of Ward 3.
The black man preaches to him that they should stick together. Ward 1 is fighting amongst themselves if they should pay with valuables or not. Eventually they succumb, and the doc's wife offers to collect all the valuables. People start putting in jewelry and mostly tech stuff in the collection bag. So the doc takes the bag in exchange for food. While the king was arranging their food, the doc hears the blind fedora man's braille writer. He remarks on it that despite the fedora man being born blind, he still chooses to be scum. The king again mouths him off and tells him to shut up. And of course the king screws them over yet again. The doctor says this is immoral. But again, the king pulls out that revolver and threatens to kill him. As if that wasn't degrading enough, he makes him apologize and say thanks. It's a real piece of digested waste, that guy. Everyone gets their food, living like pigs in a pen, and of course, there's trash all over the place. Soon, the doctor is the only one left in the cafeteria, when suddenly, if you're a consenting adult not playing gotcha games, then these scenes are already quite suggestive, but essentially, Sunglasses Girl makes her way to the doctor. She offers him food, but he blames himself on why there's a lack of food.
I was asking you to go.
And tells Sunglasses Girl that she can see.
Women for food.
Now the next morning, the doc's wife tries to talk to the soldiers guarding the compound from the outside. Everyone in Ward 1 is arguing on who should go to this king's offer or not. Ultimately, the Asian man's wife takes a stand for survival, offers herself. Then a bunch of other women also offer themselves. Jeez, netorade is one hell of a Japanese drug. So the fat bootlicker of Ward 3 comes to creep up on the ladies and check how many are there. He asks the ladies to count off, and there's 9 of them. Disgusting. As much as it pains them, they dress down and make their way holding hands towards Ward 3. Truly a male gaze moment right here. The men go ape and the ladies approach the ward. Yeah, that's a lie in a few minutes. Ugh, I think I just barfed in my mouth. Other than that, you know what happens here. Well, not really, as most of the dudes get really creepy while one of them beats up one of the women. Honestly, the guys should go through a violent wiener chopping. The ladies, sadly, carry back a dead body and even clean her up. The next morning, to add insult to injury, the obese lapdog from Ward 3 approaches the ward. Oh dear Lord, grant me the power not to swear in this video because this guy definitely needs to get beaten down.
Someone die?
Yeah.
While all the creepy humping was going on in Ward 3, Doc's wife sneaks past him and makes her way to the king. Kingslayer! The Doc's wife channels her inner TF2 spy, stabs the garbage life out of that king in one fell swoop. The fat Discord fedora neckbeard gets wind of this, grabs the king's revolver, and tries to aim and shoot at the Doc's wife. Yo lady, as much as I'm on your side, no one in this movie knows anyone's name. The pig tries to shoot her in the halls, but he misses. The doc soon confronts her about what happened, and she said she killed the king.
I killed him.
Night comes, and they try to prepare for an assault by barricading their entrances with bed frames. Who knew this movie had comedy? let alone Banner having a sense of humor. So they start to strategize. But one of the women already has bigger balls than all the men combined. She sneaks past the guards and sets fire to a piece of cloth connected to Ward 3. That woman essentially dropped her mixtape in Ward 3 and it was fire. Everyone alive evacuates the compound as it burns to the ground. Everyone concerned about being shot by the guards outside. But the doc's wife calls to the guards, but to no avail. She then discovers the gates open. Man, looks like everyone caught the blindness. Cities in ruins, streets filled with garbage, blind men and women walking hand in hand, truly a desolate sight. Looks like the aftermath of TanaCon. After all the gross experiences they had to go through, these are your Blind Brother House finalists. The Asian man and his wife, the sunglasses girl and her kid, eye patch man, and the doc and his wife.
Not leave this spot.
So mommy and daddy go out to do a little grocery shopping and man oh man, I gotta tell you, the city's a real mess. There's people left and right fighting over scraps of food and supplies, while garbage dances literally everywhere on the streets. Nothing says I miss you like cheating on your own wife, right Banner? Eventually this faithful couple find a grocery store. The wife, being the girl boss that she is, goes in and tells the doc to stay put. In the shop we see people fighting like coyotes over food and aisles. The whole place is an utter mess. Soon the doctor's wife finds underground storage for the rest of the food. She lights up a match and finds the mother lode. Of course, she takes a bite out of a few and packs the rest into plastic bags. And then she makes her way upstairs. These blind folks, however, sniff out that she has some good food on her and hoards on her as if it was Resident Evil. The doc hears his wife and swoops in to save her while these blind people follow him like zombies, but to no avail. They put down the groceries and try to catch their breath, but the doctor remembers that he left some of the clothes back at the grocery store. The wife feeds him a bit and he's on his way. I really don't know why he chose to go back instead of the wife, cause he's blind and she isn't. Then we see some random scene of a dead guy being eaten by normal dogs. No idea what the cinematographic value of the shot is, but alright. Then a very curly dog approaches the wife sitting on the steps. The dog offers a few kisses, she kisses the dog back.
I think we should stay here tonight.
The wife then goes outside and there is the doc with all of their clothes and a walking stick to boot while in the rain. He offers her a jacket and we're suddenly treated with a rare scene of people actually being happy, showering under the rain. The two make their way back to the cake shop where they left the rest of their crew. Then the wife says that they should move to a more proper place. The wife leads them back to their old home the following day and the girls have a new NSFW shower scene. Then later on, they spend a solemn moment around the fire. After that, a nice dinner that doesn't look like a lion's den. Aw, someone get Keanu Reeves, cause this is totally wholesome 100.
Look at that irate face.
See, this is why you're a doctor and not a photographer. The doctor's wife offers coffee to the Asian man and, well, you look at that.
What? What are you talking about?
All he needed was the sweet caffeine-filled aroma of coffee. Despite being NTR'd, runs up to his wife to tell her that he can see again. The rest of the gang celebrate, as this means the blindness is only temporary. Soon the wife goes out to the balcony and hopefully looks up. Cut. That's a wrap. You know, overall, it's an okay movie. Definitely not for your kids. The dystopian themes with societal microcosm chaos was a nice touch. But what really matters is what you thought about the movie. So go ahead, be sure to like, follow, and obey. Or, well, rather like, comment, and subscribe. We want to thank you for spending time with us on Blindness, a 2008 movie by 20th Century Fox starring Julianne Moore, Mark Ruffalo, Danny Glover, Yusuke Isaya, and Yoshino Kimura. Till next time.